This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Upgrade your business with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning fewer carts going abandoned and more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, get a commerce platform that's ready to sell wherever your customers are. Visit shopify.com to upgrade your selling today.
Today on CityCast Houston, are you embracing dry January to detox from alcohol and refresh after all of those holiday parties? If you are, then H-Town is one of the best places to do it because we have an awesome selection of zero-proof drinks and mocktails right here. And I mean, it's only right since Sipple, which is the first non-alcoholic bottle shop in Texas, was founded in Houston by Danny and Helenita Frounfelkner. To kick off dry January, I'm replaying my conversation with them to lay out the best non-alcoholic drinks you should try now. It's Wednesday, January 8th. I'm Raheel Ramzanali, and here's what Houston's talking about. Okay, right out the gate, I know I mentioned it in the intro, it's dry January, but what exactly is it? Explain it to me, please.
All right. So dry January effectively is kind of like the whole New Year's resolution, new year, new me. We've just gotten off the heels of Thanksgiving and, Halloween and Christmas and New Year's and all the festivities where there's so many parties that typically involve a lot of drinking. So it's kind of an opportunity to reset the body, reset the mind, all the things. And so a lot of people will take January as an opportunity to kind of get on the bandwagon, use all of that post-holiday momentum to kind of start new and quit drinking and kind of just reset the body, right?
Yeah. And it's just a great way for people to also feel empowered. So if you're doing dry January and you're around a lot of friends, family, or you have a partner that drinks or whatever, work, it's more socially acceptable now. Now, if you take a month off in July or something, people are like, wait, what's going on here? So
yeah, then you start raising some questions, right? Especially if it's a female, then you're like, ooh, is she, what's happening here?
Questions not to ask ever.
Yeah, you don't want to ask those questions. So I'm sure business is really busy right now with dry January for y'all at Sipple, right?
For us, it's really booming in dry January because that's when everybody wants to come in and taste everything. And so we have tastings every Saturday and Sunday through all of dry January. So you're welcome to come into the shop and try specific different products. So it's a really great opportunity to kind of get your feet wet and get a lot of information. So it's always packed.
Yeah, from like sober October to like February, it's just busy. So like October kicks off, starts to build up. Then you got Thanksgiving, then the holidays, and then dry January. And honestly, February has been just as busy as January has because I think they call it dryuary. It's just like people extend because it's like, oh, I'm feeling great. And then usually Houston Rodeo kicks off and then you start to see.
Yeah, everybody falls off the wagon when the rodeo hits town.
No pun intended.
Exactly. I didn't even plan it.
Yeah, I imagine. There's no amount of puns available in March to get you dry, right? There's no mocktail March or anything. It's rodeo season. That's what it is. So let's jump into mocktails, okay? Because I'm seeing the list everywhere. I'm seeing everyone talk about them. What qualifies as a good mocktail? And I know that's kind of a loaded question because everyone has different flavors and opinions on what is good. But in y'all's opinions, what's a good mocktail?
Yeah.
So mocktail's been around for a long time. There's a lot of people in the space that love the term. There's a lot of people that don't love the term just because it starts with mock and stuff. I worked in restaurants and bars for over 20 years. We used to have mocktails on the list. And a mocktail really comes down to like, obviously non-alcoholic. It's usually maybe like inspired by some classic booze cocktail or something like that. But usually it's made with like fruit juices or syrups or sparkling water, not any kind of like non-alcoholic spirits or aperitifs or anything like that, because those years ago weren't readily accessible. So mocktail prices usually are lower at restaurants and bars.
Mm-hmm.
And I think mocktails will always have a place in the non-alc space. It's a good kind of gateway. It's a good entry for people. But we've seen it graduated into non-alcoholic cocktails where people are looking for elevated spirits as like something that's closer to a non-alcoholic like Paloma or a margarita that has the viscosity and mouthfeel and flavors and stuff. Or mocktails usually, not always, but tend to be sweeter because of the syrups and juices and stuff. So a lot of people that are doing dry January are also health conscious. So they're going to go, well, I'm not drinking, but I also don't want a bunch of sugar as well. So that's where it comes in. So I think
there's a difference between a mocktail and a non-alcoholic cocktail.
For sure.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. Yeah, what is the difference? Because it sounds like mocktails are just syrupy, sugary drinks, which are good. They're delicious. Then you've got your non-alcoholic beverages, which could they contain like zero proof alcohol alternatives? Is that correct?
For sure. Like it could be a non-alcoholic spirit or a non-alcoholic beer or wine or aperitif or something like that. Like one, they're going to have a different price point. Like they're not going to be your usually mocktails $5 to $8 in a restaurant. Like, like these non-alcoholic cocktails we're seeing in Houston and across the US, they could be like $10 to $15 because they're treating it just like a booze cocktail. So there is a big difference in price point, but also really because, rightfully so, it's because of when you have alcohol, it has great viscosity. It has that ethanol creates that oily, weighty mouthfeel. Non-alcoholic spirits and stuff don't have that. So people are using different things in their drinks to elevate it up and give you something that you're like, this just tastes like the real thing, or this just tastes like, actually, I drink alcohol, but I want to drink this. This is tasty and stuff.
So the next level of all of this is you do have hemp infused or CBD infused drinks as well, which qualify as quote unquote mocktails or non-alcoholic beverages as well, right? So like there's a different layer to add on to all this. There seems like there's a lot of education to be had with consumers.
There are so many people that are looking for a healthy buzz. Like they want to decompress after work. They want to like just chill, but they don't want any of the negative effects of alcohol, maybe through the year or maybe just through dry January. So we've seen such a rise in CBD and THC drinks. So we were in the first 5 non-alcoholic bottle shops opened in the whole US, first in Texas. We were one of the first to carry CBD drinks. I can tell you, I'm pretty sure if I remember right, we were the first to carry THC drinks. And I remember getting a lot of pushback in the space about that because people were like, whoa, like that's like CBD, like that's mood altering THC. I go, hey, we're a non-alcoholic bottle shop, keyword alcohol. So we are a place for anyone and everyone. We don't judge, we're inclusive. So if you want some CBD or some THC, it's legal. You can buy these drinks. And if you want to feel good, and we educate people drinking CBD, you're going to have a different feel than drinking THC. And we kind of go through all that education. But we're seeing a lot of places just a rise across the US with these CBD and THC drinks. A good one is their Cellar Bar on Richmond that's been doing like mocktails and non-alcoholic cocktails for years now. They have some CBD cocktails that are great, as well as Wild, which has a couple locations in Houston that have some like CBD and Delta drinks and stuff like that from what I remember. So we're starting to see a rise, which is cool.
It's important to also understand like your body does not know what to do with alcohol. It's really hard for your kidney liver to break it down. And then once it metabolizes, it goes into sugar. So it's just a lot of effort. Our body, on the other hand, with CBD, our body has an endocannabinoid system. It knows what to do when it ingests CBD. And so if you take it daily, then it builds up a reserve to pull from when you enter into an activated, stress or anxious state.
Yeah. And from all our research and experience, definitely health benefits from CBD. Health benefits from alcohol? No, not really.
Life and Death on the Border 1910 to 1920 is now on view at Holocaust Museum Houston from January 24th to May 25th. This groundbreaking exhibition is produced by the Bullock Texas State History Museum in collaboration with Refusing to Forget, and it explores a decade of hardship, conflict, and state-sanctioned violence along the Texas border that threatened to destroy a community. But this decade also led to a cultural renaissance along the border and beyond, and it inspired the Mexican-American Civil Rights Movement. Life and Death on the Border 1910 to 1920 will be on view in Holocaust Museum Houston's Joseph and Edith Mintzberg Gallery, January 24th through May 25th. Admission is always free for ages 18 and under and college students with a valid school ID, and it's also free to everyone Thursdays from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Learn more at hmh.org/lifeanddeath. The Museum of Fine Arts Houston presents Living with the Gods, Arts, Beliefs, and Peoples. To celebrate its centennial, the museum has organized a once-in-a-lifetime exhibition that features extraordinary objects made by artists to communicate with their gods. Living with the Gods represents a vast array of religions and beliefs, with art created across cultures and across thousands of years. The 200 objects demonstrate the astonishing quality that artists have achieved when driven by passion and faith. Living with the Gods is on view from October 27th through January 20th, 2025. Visit mfah.org/livingwiththegods to learn more. That's mfah.org/livingwiththegods. Okay, let's jump into some of y'all's picks on some great bars around town that you could recommend to our listeners who are participating in Dry January. So let's shoot some out. Who wants to go first?
I mean, we're doing a partnership with Cultivari. And as far as we're concerned, that's not just because we're doing a partnership, but because of the menu that they have curated. It's the most comprehensive non-alcoholic menu that we have seen across the board in Dry January. They offer variety. You know, not everybody that drinks likes a cocktail. People like beer, people like wine, and limiting the options that you're doing to just mocktails or non-alcoholic cocktails, it's taking away the people that maybe don't typically drink cocktails. So I would say Cultivari is one of the really good ones that's out there.
Yeah, for sure. I mentioned it earlier, the one on Richmond, Cellar Bar. Yeah, I know Anvil every year they kind of do like usually I think at least 2 non-alcoholic cocktails and stuff like that. So Anvil, obviously a classic bar in Houston to always check out. But we're seeing more and more. There's FN Kitchen and Bar, Lulu's, Moxie's. Those are all great ones as well.
So at Cultivari, since y'all are doing that partnership, what's one drink you recommend that we should try?
They're not in tonic. It's one of my favorite drinks. They're using a local Cut Above. Cut Above is the first Houston non-alcoholic spirit company we've known for a couple of years now. So they're using their non-alcoholic gin and then their classic recipe for their just regular gin and tonic there. So it's really good.
Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah. I'd also say Prima Pave's, their sparkling rosé is being served there, and Gießen
which is
now
a bestseller at our shop.
Yeah, it's great. And then Gießen's Red is there, which is a really nice red.
And then they have Best Day Brewing IPA for people that want just a great IPA beer that you really can't tell the difference. So I think they check all the boxes. They're hitting every kind of style what people are looking for.
Nice. Let's talk about some restaurants because now people are meeting up and I know everyone has their fitness goals and you got your Dry January goals as well, but you are hitting up some restaurants. Do y'all have some recommendations for a good place to grab food and also stick to your no drinking goals?
I think a lot of the ones we named earlier, a lot of them are restaurants. So Cultivari, FN Kitchen and Bar, Lulu's. There's a bunch that are doing it that you can grab great tasty food as well as getting some non-alcoholic drinks. Eater Houston just came out with I think it was restaurants and bars serving up 0 proof cocktails. So that's a great list. Gratefully, they listed us as the retail, you can go grab these drinks, but Cultivari's on there. There's a bunch. Mm-hmm. So that's a great kind of tool for people to go check out to see what places. Now, some of them are serving mocktails. Some of them are serving non-alcoholic cocktails. Some have beer, some have wine. So people kind of have to maybe call the restaurant or look at their menu online and stuff. But at least it's a good list for people to go off in Houston.
Okay, speaking of healthy, this is where I get caught up in the mocktail stuff, right? Is because I don't drink. And I'm also very in tune with fitness and I don't want to drink 40 grams of sugar in a mocktail. Give me a good drink to try that is a little bit healthier when it comes to sugar and calories.
We have tons, honestly, at our shop. We don't believe in trading alcohol for sugar. So we're very health conscious. So we don't stock anything that's above 20 grams of sugar per serving to me, it's insanely high, but to people that drink soda, it's not. So a lot of our best sellers and what we drink, a lot of it's under 10 grams of sugar, under 5 grams of sugar per serving. So we have We have things that are 0 grams, 3 grams, 5 grams, you name it. So there's tons. We have ready to drink cocktails in cans for people, like on the go.
Yeah, pretty much most of our CBD THC stuff is like little to no sugar.
And even our Blood Moon margarita, that's low in sugar as well.
The only sugar that's in there is the lime juice and how much agave you put in there.
Yeah.
So you can control kind of that. I would say all of our wines are pretty low in sugar unless it's obviously like a Riesling or a dessert wine.
So before I let you guys go, do y'all have any final tips regarding dry January? Because it sounds like it's more than just the drinks, right?
I would say to approach dry January with a new, fresh set of eyes. Don't just focus on like what you're like eating or drinking, focus on like the body-mind connection. And so one of the things that we offer throughout the month of dry January and beyond is, different ways to support your journey. Because what happens when you quit drinking is you're removing the thing that numbs all of your feelings and emotions, right? And so it can be pretty overwhelming and it can make you want to kind of go back to drinking more quickly. And so we offer somatic breathwork sessions at our shop every Wednesday evening. So if anybody is interested in that, there's a link in our bio on our Sipple.co Instagram account. But it's a really good way to kind of get back in touch with the body, try something new for the new year that's different than traditional therapy, that really gets you connected to what's going on in your body somatically to help you along your journey as you're processing some of the stuff that might come up inevitably.
That was great. Thank you so much for all this information, and I can't wait to come try out some of the stuff and check out some of the restaurants and bars as well. Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thanks so much. Cheers.
That was Danny and Helenita Frounfelkner. Learn more about their shop, Sipple, and all the restaurants and bars we talked about with the links in our show notes. Hey, help us grow the show by sharing this episode with 3 friends who are doing dry January. You can also get more recommendations in our daily newsletter, Hey Houston, with the link in our show notes, or go to houston.citycast.fm. Also, be sure to hit subscribe and rate and review the show wherever you listen. Thanks. That will do it for today. I'm Raheel Ramzanali. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something new.